Hey everybody, good morning. This is Heather with Hump Days with Heather on the Talking Pools podcast. I figured today let's talk about the biggest mistakes that you make in your business. Um, for me personally, I think it had to be hiring the wrong people when I was in a pinch. Like I didn't care the quality because I just needed a body there. So, lesson learned there, don't just take what you get immediately just because you're in a pinch, right? Sometimes it's better just to explain to clients, hey, we have a shortage. I'm going to have to push your job, so on and so forth. I know that's a little hard whenever you're doing weekly cleaning. So if you join the groups, I know there's certain groups out there that cover for cleaning for sick days and all of that as well. So definitely join groups for that. But the biggest mistake in my business I think that I've made was just putting a body in there and just letting them go, even though I trained them and it just wasn't a good fit for us, if that makes sense. Some of the other big things why you make mistakes are going to be not putting the right people in place sooner. Example, what I mean by that is like we had this one individual that was just soaring, doing great jobs. And instead of putting that person into a management position, I put somebody else that had a lot more experience because I figured that the more experience that you had, the better that you're going to be at it, right? Well, no. So just make sure that you are putting the right people in the right place. There's also a great little tool that's called the disc profiling. That's for businesses that you can read their personality. You can see if that's the right fit. Like I do disc personality test on all of my people, except for my contractors, right? I'm talking about my employees that actually work for me full time. So example, Cassandra, her personality is like an SI, or a CI, excuse me. I have to go back and look at it. It's been a little bit. But basically that means that she is very talkative, she's very detailed, she's very down to earth, she's good with clients. Like it gives your faults and it gives your strengths. She's not a good leader. So we are sorry, I just had a text. So we don't put her in a full blown management position. She doesn't handle stress very well, and as you know, leaderships, you've got to be able to handle stress. Versus me, I'm like all D, so I'm like 98% D on my profile, which is very unusual. So that means I handle stress very easily, and I actually excel a lot better in stress, and I do point blank. I don't want the details. I just give me a problem and I'll find a solution for you. That's my D profile. Whereas my husband, he is more of a give me the details type of person. I've got to know step by step what we're doing, so on and so forth, because he needs those details where I don't want them. It's a waste of my time. I just give me the problem and I'll find you a solution for him. So not putting the right people in place, if you need help with that, definitely do disc profiling. It's like $90 a person, depending on where you go to get them. You can do them online. You just send it to them. And it's also good to have for yourself. So, even as business owners, you know what's good for you and what's bad for you as far as if you're in the right position in your own business. That was hard for me. I don't like delegating because I feel like I need to be in control of everything. And learning how to delegate saved me so much time to learn what my weaknesses are and what I didn't want to deal with. I don't deal well with irritated customers over stupid stuff. Like there's a leaf in my pool. It's the same leaf. Literally, I had a customer when we were cleaning pools saying that, oh, it's the same leaf. Like your guy didn't clean it out. Mr. Homeowner, did you mark that damn leaf with a Sharpie? I literally asked a client that. Yeah, that didn't go over so well. But I'm like, just that sort of stuff. So I know I'm not the right person to deal with that. And I was on the phone arguing with a client for an hour and a half one day over something to do with the repair that we did. And I was just like spitting facts at him and he's thinking he knows everything. So I'm arguing with him for an hour and a half. And after that conversation, my husband's like, do you feel any better? I'm like, no, I'm just more pissed because he still didn't understand what I was saying, And he's like, so lesson learned, you're in the wrong position to be able to do that. You need to pass those clients to me. So make sure you have the right people in place, even if it's yourself. The next one would be not investing enough into yourself. So what I mean by that is everybody needs to take pamper time, right? You want to invest into yourself, whether it's if you want to start a second business to get more wealth, if you want to spend more family time, you've got to have those personal goals and you've got to have the necessities to keep your body healthy and to keep your mind healthy to be able to run a successful business or even work for an individual. It doesn't have to be a business owner, just anything to do with life. You've got to have your body doing correctly. Don't let your health go to shit because you're overworking, especially in the summertime, y'all. I mean, it's hot as shit out there. Hydrated, stay hydrated, hydrated. I can't tell you enough. I actually had a personal friend of mine that's here in the Metroplex that her son was drinking energy drinks throughout the day. We all know that's a big no-no, and if you do that, stop it right now. They actually ended up passing away because they had heat stroke and because he had no water in his body and it was just pure sugar. And unfortunately, he was in a coma for a while and he never came out and he ended up passing away. So please, guys, take care of your body, take care of yourself. Next one I think is a big mistake that a lot of people do is not making an emphasis on marketing and network. Marketing and network. You have to spend money to make money. Any good marketing firm will tell you this. They can't guarantee what your ROI is, right? That's not possible. But you have to network. You have to market. I get a lot of referrals from the groups. I get a lot of referrals from mom groups. I get a lot of referrals from the local groups that I'm in to help business owners. Like my fencing guy, my concrete guy, whoever it may be, we refer people back and forth. So it's all about who you know. And I would have to say like 80% of my business is nothing but referrals. While I still spend a lot on marketing, don't get me wrong, but I keep track of my ROI. I keep track of where my stuff is coming from. So a majority of my stuff comes from those groups and it comes from my inner circle that I have. And it's free advertisement, right? It's just word of mouth. That is the best marketing ever because somebody is going to hire somebody based on word of mouth versus just going to Google reviews. That's going to be a lot faster and that's going to get your foot in the door a lot more. Next one would be sometimes people like to take on a business partner. That's good and that's bad. Business partners, you want to make sure that you align yourself with core values. I can't stress enough. Chris and I did talk about that, right? But Chris is my business partner, right? He's my husband. And even at times for us, like our business is totally different in mindset. I'll give you an example. I'm going to touch base on this. Hiring family is another one. And I'm going to conjoin the hiring family and the business partner into one because what happens is my husband and I have different values in certain things and different, beliefs as to what we should do because we're individual people. So I hired my dad and Dad, if you're listening to this, I'm sorry you have to deal with it. Because he does listen to my podcast. So I hired my dad. Well, something happened with, my dad in the business and it blew up, right? So it blew up, Dad got a really bad thing that happened with the client. And I'll just tell you because I don't care at this point. It's done. It's in the past. Whatever. He basically did something on the side for a client. Well, I had my office call me one day and was like, hey, Heather, Cassandra called me. She was like, Heather, I need you at the office ASAP. I don't care where you're at. Stop what you're doing. I'll move your jobs. Come. And I was only like 20 minutes down the road from the office because I had just left to go to an appointment. And she was like, I'm literally heading to my appointment now. I just called my client. Can it not wait? Like, what's such a dire emergency? Does somebody die? Does somebody get sick? Is a pool exploded? What's going on? She kept it very vague. And she's like, I will tell you when you get here. I don't want to tell you this while you're driving. So I turn around. I have her call the client. I go to my office and she's like, I need you to call this client back, but I need you to listen to this recording before you call this client back. So I pull the recording up and I listen to it, and lo and behold, this client's calling because there's a recall on my dad. And so I'm like, okay, what the hell is the big deal, right? So I'm continuing to record. Lo and behold, I'm looking through the client's list. I'm trying to find everything going on, and I can't find what my dad did, which was fix a filter and haul off a heater. So I'm going through a list, and there's nothing in here. I see service decline. Like she put decline on the services that we offered. Well, she was calling back to get him back out there because the filter was leaking and the gas line wasn't capped all the way. She was smelling gas. So I'm like, I call her back, and Cassandra, she's just sitting there like she's petrified, right? She's like, I don't know how Heather's going to react because, again, my temper gets really, really there quickly. So she's like, well, no, I didn't hire through you. I hired Rick directly. Oh, so what's the statement and how did you pay him? Oh, he ran my credit card. Because my dad has other businesses, right? So I'm like, well, what's the name on the credit card receipt? And she tells me. So I'm like, well, I suggest you call that business then because you hired them directly. You didn't hire me. So I don't know what to tell you. Well, can't you just give me a cell phone number? Hell no, I can't. You should have got that before you left. And by the way, don't ever call my business again, right? So lo and behold, family, right? You would expect them not to do that, but it happens. So my husband and I, after this, fiasco happened, I had not so good choice words with my father thereafter. Chris and I were definitely not aligned as to what needed to happen during that situation. And it caused a big rift between us as a family. So hiring family and not having the same values as business, partners, that's a huge one. You want to make sure, if scenarios happen, like how do they handle them? What's your goal? My dad and I are in good terms now. That happened years ago. So it did take a lot because I'm not gonna lie, that pierced me because that was the last person that I expected, that from. Employees, non-competes, we do that, but everybody knows in Texas, non-compete really doesn't mean shit unless you have solid, verbiage and it's signed, and then you have the client, which I had all of that, Hubby wanted to press charges. I didn't. I just, it just became to the point where that caused something, but we're over that. We're through that. So just make sure you hire the right people. Don't hire family. And if you do choose to hire family, keep an eye on them. Definitely keep an eye on them. Firsthand experience here. Okay, so the next one, issues with business would be, you're not charging enough and then not understanding your value and your worth. I think this happens a lot more in our industry than we like to put on, so to say. Because what happens is, let's say Joe Blow, I think I have another podcast. I lose track of what I actually record, so I apologize if some of this is repeating, but it's good to know. So let's just say I had a customer actually just yesterday call me and say, hey, Chris came out and he did an estimate. If I move forward now, can you discount it because I'm ready to go? And it was like a $5,000 estimate. I'm like, well, Mr. So-and-so, I apologize, but our prices have gone significantly higher since a year and a half ago when we did this estimate. Oh, well, how much? And I'm like, I'm not sure. I'm not at the office, so I'll have to get back with you. But I know off the top of my head. But I told him, I was like, it's an easily 30% increase. And he's like, oh, I approved it last time, and I don't know why y'all didn't do it. So why am I have to do it for your lack of approval? Well, again, I document and I record everything. So I go through my phone because I can access my entire office almost. I can't do counting because I have QuickBooks Desktop. But so I'm going through my stuff and I'm like, let's see. My phone recording says that we called you and you declined the service. Like you checked off declined service because you couldn't afford it at the time. So I pulled the recording and sure enough, Cassandra's called you and you said no. So, and I call him back. And so I told the homeowner, I'm like, Mr. Homeowner, so before you start accusing us of not doing our job, just know everything in my office is documented and recorded. I suggest you decide not to lie to us because that's going to piss me off even more. And I told him this. I was like, so going forward, in order to work with us, don't lie to us again because I will pull it and I will call you out on it. And again, that brings into a value with another, mistake that a lot of people do, or like a lot of failures that happen, is not not pulling the right customer for your business. And I just did a podcast on that one, or it's releasing. I'm not sure when Rudy's going to release that, but I have a podcast on that where the value of your customer. So listen to that. Well, I hope you've had a great little tidbit on this, and I have hoped it helped you. Until next Wednesday, have an amazing day. Love you guys. Bye.